feel free to stick around for the show. What is up, everybody, and welcome to TWIG. This is The Week in Geek. This is our weekly geekly news show that we do here at Checkpoint Church over on our Twitch stream every Thursday. That's twitch.tv/checkpointchurch. Be sure to tune in live for the show, although we're actually going to start this show off a little bit differently. I got a huge new announcement for you. If you've been tuning in with The Week in Geek, we have been through our first season. We've had over 20 episodes of this show, of this weekly geekly news show, and we are changing things up just a little bit to make things better for you so that we can get better guests on the show, so that we can have a time of the day that may work for more people, so that you don't always have to catch the podcast, but you can actually catch it live. So traditionally, The Week in Geek has been on Thursdays, typically at the beginning at 10 o'clock. It is now going to be moving to our Tuesday night stream. So Tuesday nights, twitch.tv/checkpointchurch from 8 until 11 p.m. Eastern time. Probably at that 8 o'clock hour, we're going to start doing The Week in Geek. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to the change and the shift in time, and that is going to be our season 2. So what's actually going to be happening is we're going to have The Week in Geek next Thursday. The Thursday following, no Week in Geek. We're going to take the week off, and then we'll be back with a whole new show with new polished things. We're going to take some of the energy that we've been putting into this already and amplify it, hopefully have some cool guests for season 2, and continue this weekly geekly news show then. So anticipate Tuesday nights starting towards the middle and end of August. All that information will, of course, be available on our Discord. It'll be available on all of our social medias. We'd love for you to keep in touch with what The Week in Geek is doing and get excited for it. With that, we're going to start with our real start of the show, the way that we always try and kick things off, and that is with what are you watching, reading, and playing? If you're here in the chat, let us know. What are you up to this past weekend, this past week? What are you watching? What are you reading? What are you playing? I want to know because I love finding out what people are getting into, because sometimes I find out new things that I didn't even know about. So let's start with what am I watching? I'm finally catching up on Demon Slayer, trying to catch up on the latest season. I've officially started that one, so we'll see how I enjoy this latest season. For those of you that don't know my take on Demon Slayer, I think it is okay. I think it is pretty boring, but a really good storyline, good world building, interesting enough characters, but the way it's told, I just don't vibe with. So I'm giving it another try. I'm going to continue watching it because it is just the cultural zeitgeist that it is, and we'll see how it kind of perpetually goes. I'm very excited. I haven't started reading it yet, but this book has been recommended to me again and again and again. And this is my latest library haul, Six of Crows. Have you heard of Six of Crows? It was adapted into a Netflix show, sort of. It is a interesting little heist fantasy book, and I don't know much about it aside from the fact that it was adapted into a Netflix show, and that, or not, the universe was adapted into a Netflix universe. I don't know if this particular story has been told, but I'm looking forward to finally reading it and getting into it and experiencing it and supporting my local public library, which you should too. I love the library. And what have I been playing, you guys? I have been playing so much Pikmin 4. Holy moly. I am thinking, I mean, it could, it's not going to, because Tears of the Kingdom is just too big of a deal. If Tears of the Kingdom had not come out this year, it would be my GOTY. It would be my GOTY. It is so good. It's so polished. It's so well done. It's an interesting story. Play sessions are as short or as long as you need them to be. It looks gorgeous. It runs perfect on the Switch. It's a 10 out of 10 game. It is easily a 10 out of 10 game. Could be a GOTY if it wasn't coming out in the same year as Legend of Zelda. So big deal. Play Pikmin 4. Even if you've never played a Pikmin before, you can absolutely get into this one and have just an awesome time. If you've ever been curious about Pikmin and you want to know more, play Pikmin 4. Please, please, please play Pikmin 4. Let me know in the chat. What are you watching? What are you reading? What are you playing? If you're watching live on YouTube, everybody say hi, YouTube. Then let us know down in the comments what you're watching, reading, and playing. We'd love to hear more about that. With that, let's get into some of our news segments for today. The first one, of course, we're going to talk about it as if we could not talk about it. It's the only thing that everybody's been talking about for the past week. Twitter is now X. Elon Musk, owner of Twitter, has unveiled a rebranding of the platform, including the new minimalist Art Deco X logo to replace the iconic blue bird logo. Additionally, the term tweets will now be replaced by X's or Zeets. The change is in line with Musk's fondness for X in branding and in naming his progeny, seen in SpaceX and X.com, and is also the name for his proposed all-in-one app inspired by WeChat. According to Twitter's recently appointed CEO, Linda Yaccarino, X is centered around audio, video, messaging, and payments and banking, and is powered by AI. The rebrand follows the emergence of a rival social media platform, Threads, which we've talked about on the show for the past couple weeks, and comes amidst financial struggles for Twitter. This is an interesting development. I personally think it's probably the final nail in the coffin. I'm still on Twitter somehow, or I guess I'm still on X. I can't say that. You can't say that. Not on my Christian Minecraft server. I can't say I'm on X, you guys. That's absolutely not okay. I've never even put that together until right now. But please don't clip that, and we're gonna just eliminate that from the vernacular. But yeah, it's baffling. It's weird. It's a terrible choice. Everybody kind of unanimously agrees this is a bad idea. But it's what Musk is doing, and it is the future of Twitter/X. So we will find out how it continues to perpetually spiral into nothingness. This is really the first one that has concerned me. I never intended on being a Twitter Blue subscriber. He never messed with my feed. None of my experience with Twitter was ever impacted until now, because I can't log on to it without looking at a big, gross monotype X. So we'll see where this continues to proceed from. My hot takes are that I'm still using Threads. I also still call Facebook Facebook. I don't call them Meta. And yeah, this is just, it is what it is. I don't know. We don't have any say. We don't have any choice. This is the ravings of a billionaire, and this is what we're getting. This is all we have. And hopefully it doesn't ruin everything. But if it does, I like Threads, and I'll keep using that platform as well. I'll continue using it as the social media giant that it is, but I am sad to have really lost a community that I have built over years, really a decade, on Twitter. With that, we're going to move into our next news story. Well, actually, Baby30Bat says, yeah, I'm never going to refer to it as anything other than Twitter, not updating unless it forces you to. Yeah. And I use browser. So almost everything that I do on social media is browser-based, because I really try to keep those apps off my phone. And it certainly has updated on the browser, and I have no choice. But we'll see how things continue to go forward with X. With that, our next news story. CD Projekt Red, CDPR, has announced some layoffs. CD Projekt Red, the developer behind popular games like The Witcher and Cyberpunk, has announced plans to lay off nearly 10% of its workforce, impacting approximately 100 staff members. The layoff, affecting development, publishing, and back office teams, are part of an ongoing transformation to build more effective team projects and optimize working arrangements. This comes following the company's efforts to incorporate agile methodologies and reshape development processes. CD Projekt's estimated cost of the layoffs, including severance payments, is approximately $1.1 million. The layoffs are set to conclude in the first quarter of 2024. This has been an interesting thing that I've continued to kind of keep my thumb on as TWIG is becoming more and more of a thing. I don't know if you've noticed over the past 20 or so episodes of TWIG, we talk about this a lot. We talk about layoffs and the turnover in the video game world quite a bit. And the reason we talk about it so much is because it happens so much. So if you are at all invested in video games or in the culture that is video games, on one hand, we see the FTC and this big Microsoft, Activision, Blizzard buyout. And on the other hand, we see developers like CD Projekt Red that are making games of the year and are having to lay off 10% of their workforce. This is a weird diametric opposition between these two things that I'm intrigued by and that I want to keep looking at. My heart breaks for my peers and friends that are in the video game market and that are trying to develop video games and are trying to work for companies that they love and that they respect, because it has been very clear that they're just not able to sustain in any reasonable way either the deadlines, the care of their employees, or just the general breakdown of a sustainable job. and workforce. I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued by it. I'm curious about it, and we're going to keep talking about it on TWIG. I wish I had more to offer about it, but it's kind of just, here's the news as you need to know it. Here's something interesting happening in the video game sphere. Losing 10% of your workforce is not something that is negligible. That's a noticeable shift in the expectations of a team. With that, let's move into the next one. The ESRB has had kind of a back and forth over a face scanning scandal in the past week. The ESRB, also known as the Entertainment Software Ratings Board, you know them as the people that put E for everyone or whatever rating on your video games, has refuted recent reports claiming it plans to use facial recognition technology to verify the ages of children. Rumors had circulated that the ESRB was partnering with digital identity firm Yoti to use facial estimation tech for age checks. However, the ESRB clarified it has no intention of using the technology to stop children from purchasing or downloading restricted games, nor to take or store user images. The technology is instead intended to analyze the geometry of a parent's face to see that they are an adult. Any images and data used for this process are not stored, used for AI training, marketed, or shared with anyone. I don't think they got the point. I think that I have a lot of respect for the ESRB. I think they're a very needed source. I appreciate the work that they put into it and the craft they put into the important regulation that is probably needed. We have a whole conversation topic on that over on the Level 2 podcast if you ever want to check it out. But this is undeniably a breach of privacy that we're going to continue to see as we see new things coming out. I think this is the whole thing with TikTok, right? I mean, people were really upset with TikTok doing pretty much the same thing, but TikTok vehemently denied it, whereas the ESRB kind of just owned it. They were like, yeah, we are scanning your faces, but only if you're an adult. And so it's a weird thing. I'm glad that they're claiming that they're not using it on children. I'm glad that they're claiming that they're not storing this data or keeping it up for any further usage or things like that. But it's definitely a bit uncomfy. The next time that you download a video game and it asks for access to your camera, think twice about whether or not you want to give it those permissions. If it even gives you the option to opt in or out of them is going to be the big question. So what do you think about this? I think it's a pretty big breach of privacy, but I also understand the need for some kind of maintenance. But I also think this is something that could probably just be done by parents. Just pay attention to the games that your kids are playing. Just know what you're doing. and be sure to allow some kind of sense of control as parenting is concerned so that the ESRB doesn't feel the need to do this for whatever reason they are feeling the need to. Maybe 30 Bat says that's never permission I give to anything that isn't a VoIP or streaming application. Yes, exactly. I actually just gave it to Pokemon Smile last night to encourage my daughter to brush her teeth. So we're doing some things like that, and sometimes you have to cave, and hopefully we'll make sure to monitor what that app is scanning and when it's scanning. I like the things that say, while this app is active. If it gives me the option to limit control to that exact time, then that's my preferred method. But I still try to steer clear as best as I can. Next piece of information that we have on the chopping block. This one went under the radar. No surprise to anyone. I think that it is something that people don't pay enough attention to, but probably should because we're too busy looking at Xbox and Activision. But behemoth of a Chinese technology giant, Tencent, has announced its acquisition of Polish developer Techland, known for creating the original Dead Island and the Dying Light series. Techland CEO Paweł Machuca shared that Tencent is set to become the studio's majority shareholder, but assured that the company would retain full ownership of its IP, maintain creative freedom, and continue to operate independently. The move follows Tencent's recent purchases of Sumo Group and Wake Up Interactive and its stated intention to acquire Turtle Rock Studios. This is a big deal. Tencent has slowly but surely bought up all of the kind of bottom skimmer, like large, but not so large that they're in the media, game development firms for a long time now. And we should probably be worried about Tencent. We should pay attention to Tencent because they might be wanting to take over and become a monopoly of video gaming, especially in regards to mobile gaming. So I don't know if this means that maybe we'll see a push or a turn towards mobile gaming for Dying Light. Who could say? But Techland is definitely a big deal and somebody worth paying attention to, and they are now owned officially by Tencent, who is slowly but surely taking over the world. So look out for that name. If you ever see the name Tencent, then know that you're dealing with somebody that wants to be a monopoly of gaming. Next up, Dolphin, for those of you that are in the emulator scene and the emulating of retro games, Dolphin and Steam have been in a back and forth debate, and it appears to have officially settled out. The Dolphin emulator project team announced that they have abandoned their efforts to release the Dolphin, which is an open source emulator for both GameCube and Wii games, on the Steam platform. The team had initially planned to launch the emulator on Valve's digital distribution platform, but had to indefinitely postpone the release after receiving a cease and desist order from Nintendo. Nintendo, which has a clear stance against video game emulation, argued that the existence of the emulator harms development and ultimately stifles innovation. Now, this is a back and forth subject for me. I talk about emulation quite a bit. I certainly talk about piracy and the challenges there, but also the importance of retro games being preserved and the Video Game Preservation Act and all the things going on with the Video Game History Foundation's preservation efforts. Yeah, very interesting stuff. For those of you that haven't kept up with it from the beginning, Dolphin has been around for many years, but it was officially wanting to launch in kind of a 1.0 version, and they wanted to partner with Steam on the storefront to make it easier to download their platform. And they did put up pictures, but their pictures were all of third-party or games that were built using the shell of the GameCube and the Wii. Of course, you can emulate if you have the proper ROMs or the proper packages or APK files or whatever is necessary to run on the Dolphin. And so Nintendo was concerned of people that would be using it for malicious efforts rather than just preservation efforts. So hopefully this means that Nintendo is making steps towards putting, I don't know, GameCube or Wii games onto the Switch, but I doubt it. I don't think we'll see this on Nintendo Switch Online anytime soon, considering they just got to Game Boy Advance. But it is a sad thing to see Nintendo kind of continue to stifle the efforts of organizations like this that are just hopefully innocently trying to preserve gaming and to encourage gaming of the past into the future. So go figure. I'm not surprised by this at all, but I am sad to see it. Welcome in, Cam. Got another meeting in 5 minutes. Wanted to say hi. Thanks for popping in. We're going to move into a bullet round. This is going to be as quick as I can go through each of these news items. For those of you that were not aware, San Diego Comic-Con has just wrapped up. And so I want to go through as many of the things as I can possibly fit. I tried to find all of the summaries online and mishmash them into one and see what I could come up with as far as a quick bullet round of things announced at the San Diego Comic-Con. First off, an exclusive poster for Invincible's highly anticipated second season was unveiled. Skybound Games announced The Walking Dead Betrayal, a new survival and social deception game. DC and Legendary Entertainment revealed a new crossover comic series, Justice League vs. Godzilla vs. Kong. Amazon Studios announced Gen V, a spinoff of The Boys, set to premiere on September 29th. Blizzard outlined new changes and plans for Diablo 4, including performance adjustments and drop rate revisions. The live-action adaptation of Borderlands by Lionsgate Films will arrive on August 9th, 2024, with mostly the same cast as has been teased. Adventure Time Fiona and Cake, a spin-off series, will premiere on August 31st of this year. The first 3 episodes of Marvel's Secret Invasion will be released to Hulu for a limited time. Pokemon Ultimate Journeys, marking Ash Ketchum's final arc, will be available on Netflix on September 8th. New footage from the upcoming Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem was shown. Harley Quinn Season 4 got a new trailer ahead of the July 27th premiere, which is today. Nickelodeon secured the rights to all 193 episodes of the original TMNT animated series. Sony unveiled a new limited edition Spider-Man themed PS5 and DualSense controller, and Checkpoint Church thinks it's pretty sweet. Insomniac Games and PlayStation released a new trailer for Spider-Man 2 and revealed a bit more about the game. Marvel Comics teased a new team of mutants to be revealed next year. Bad City, a Japanese crime thriller, is set to release digitally on August 1st. The second trailer for the upcoming MCU film The Marvels premiered. Borderlands Echo Vision Live, a new interactive streaming series, was announced. Andy Samberg and Joe Troman revealed their new comic called Holy Roller, which is due out on November 22nd of this year. The Walking Dead spinoffs Daryl Dixon and Dead City were renewed for second seasons. The Walking Dead, The Ones Who Live, a new spinoff focused on Rick Grimes and Michonne, was teased. Producers for Rick and Morty shared new details on the show's upcoming 7th season. A teaser revealed for Rick and Morty, the anime, was released. The Continental, a John Wick spinoff, is going to premiere on September 22nd. NetherRealm Studios confirmed the new characters for Mortal Kombat 1 would be, including Homelander, Peacemaker, Omni-Man, Quan Chi, Ermac, and and Takeda. Mortal Kombat Legends Cage Match is set to debut on October 17th. SAG-AFTRA's chief negotiator clarified how fans can cosplay while also supporting the ongoing strikes. Marvel revealed a new Punisher character, Joe Garrison, for its comic book universe. And Invincible Season 2 was announced to premiere on November 3rd. And DC announced that both Crisis on Infinite Earths and Watchmen will be turned into animated movies. Let me know if any of those news strike your fancy, if they were things that you were interested in. I'm fascinated to see all the exciting things going on. I do agree with Cam. The Marvel hype is real. The Invincible hype is real. Interesting to see Walking Dead still kind of poking its head into the Comic-Con scene, and a lot of good stuff going on there. We did get a couple of DC things. I love the DC animated universe, so I'm excited to see that they're continuing to expand on that, and they certainly have no interest in backing off of it. Also, a surprising amount of TMNT content at this year's San Diego Comic-Con, which I think TMNT continues to be just the thing that will never leave, and I'm happy about that because I do love my turtles. But it is interesting to see the conversation that it's kind of continuing to have in the space. And of course, video game fans are glad to hear more about Spider-Man 2. Okay. With that, I think we've gone through all of our news stories. Let me know if any of those San Diego Comic-Con news bites really got to you. Let me know how you feel about that kind of bullet round of news as well. If you enjoyed that, if you thought that was helpful, or if you're just kind of like spinning with all the news that just happened and you can't wait to listen back on the podcast form. Any of those, let me know what you think, and I look forward to hearing your thoughts. With that, we're going to get into an all-new segment here on TWIG. This is a new segment of the show that we're trying. I hope that you have fun with it. It is a game, and the name of the game is Cryptic Critiques. So what we're going to be doing for this game is I have scoured the internet and I'm going to be finding 1-star reviews of your favorite video games and reading off some hints about what that game might be based off of these 1-star reviews. And I'm going to encourage you to play along either in the chat or play along in the comment section, or just play along in your head if you're listening to the podcast. See if you can come up with what the answer is before I get to the third prompt. I'll reveal it after then, but this is a fun little game for you to play amongst whoever you might be listening to the episode with. So I found a game and I have 3 prompts. Again, these are all 1-star reviews of a beloved game. And the first prompt is, this is like the McDonald's of video games. That's your first prompt. See if you can formulate in your mind what game you think might be the McDonald's of video games. Prompt number 2 says, just simply, without punctuation, can't ride the chicken, 1 out of 10, bad game. What do you think about that? Can't ride the chicken, 1 out of 10, bad game. Also the McDonald's of games. Any guesses? Formulating in your mind. Again, if you want to engage with it in the chat, feel free. If you want to engage down in the comment section, feel free. Or if you just want to keep the answer in your head, think it through what it might be. The final prompt for our Cryptic Critiques is very normal, but blocky. Just check your child for safety otherwise. All right, that was the one that hopefully gave it away. If you got it, good. If you didn't, here is the answer. These are real reviews that I found online for the video game Minecraft. Minecraft, the beloved video game that we all know so well and that we play so often on stream. Those are some bad reviews that it has received, and that has been Cryptic Critiques. Okay. With that, we're going to get into some news from the Discord. Do let me know what you thought of that segment, and if you enjoyed it, I would love to hear feedback as we move into second season. I want to try more segments like that. So we'll try new things. It might be a weekly thing. It might just hop back in every now and again. Let me know if it's a fun little game. If you ever want to submit news to us, then you can utilize our Discord, !Discord in the chat here on Twitch or down in the description if you're watching on YouTube. And we are going to go through some of the news that was submitted to us. If you don't want to utilize those platforms, you can always submit news directly to us, bit.ly/DearTwig, DearTwig. Again, that is bit.ly/DearTwig. Submit your news to us and we'll try and get it featured on the show. The first piece of submitted news comes from our own Cam, Humar Whitill over there. And it is about Doctor Who entering into the Magic the Gathering universe. During San Diego Comic-Con 2023, Magic designer Gavin Verhey unveiled details of the upcoming Magic the Gathering Doctor Who collection. This set is going to feature 4 unique Commander decks with new cards that represent the various eras, characters, and locations from the Doctor Who universe. Some of the decks showcased include Blast from the Past, which details the first 8 Doctors, Timey-Wimey, focusing on the 9th, 10th, and 11th Doctors, Paradox Power, which features the 12th and 13th Doctors, and Masters of Evil, which is themed around the Doctor's iconic villains. All of these decks are available for pre-order now and will be released on October 13th of 2023. I am not super invested in either of these universes, whether it be Magic the Gathering or whether it be Doctor Who, but I am excited to see Magic the Gathering continuing to lean into those parallel universes and lean into those partnerships. I think that we can always do better whenever we bring together multiple worlds. That's kind of what Checkpoint is. We're bringing together multiple worlds and cultures. And so I think the more that we can do to have that overlap, the better it will be. So I'm excited for this. Let me know in the comments if you're excited about this, if you plan on picking up any of those boosters, or what you're thinking about this crossover. Next up, we have one submitted by Sneaky Pigs. Sneaky Pigs told us about a Craigslist situation. A father's thrifty find of vintage gaming systems off of a Craigslist ad has amazed many on the internet. The father had initially responded to an ad of old mechanic boxes, but upon visiting, discovered a range of classic gaming consoles and games available for sale. For $250 that he paid for the whole lot, he was able to purchase an original NES, a Super Nintendo with games and controllers, a Nintendo 64 with games and controllers, a PS1 and 2 with controllers, a Sega Saturn with games and controllers, a Dreamcast with games and controllers, and a VHS of The Lion King. The images of his haul garnered considerable positive attention on Reddit, with users commending the impressive find. As a retro gamer myself and as a collector myself, I am envious of this man. I want this collection. I would love for this to happen. This is always my dream whenever I go yard sailing, as I love to go yard sailing and first thing in the morning, bring my coffee and go look and just hope and pray and just cross my fingers that somebody is going to be selling some video games out there, because I do love to see the old stuff. Fun story. I actually had a parishioner. I am a pastor, and I had a parishioner at the church that I was serving prior at a Checkpoint that was like, my son or my grandson or whoever has left their Nintendo 64 in my attic for years and years and years, and I know that you're a nerd. Would you like it? And I was like, would I like it? Would I like it? I was like, yes, I will pay you for it. Please let me pay you. And I got this full suite, this full collection of this guy's games and this gaming collection and all this wonderful stuff. And he had pristine games, like golden copies of games. It was just, it was perfect. It was a wonderful moment. And I'm still thankful to that parishioner for letting me know that they had games they wanted to just give away. They were going to give them to me. And I was like, absolutely not. I'm going to be paying for these. So pretty big deal. I love retro gaming. I love game collecting. It is one of my favorite things to do. And I think it's a fun little hobby. And I can only imagine if this had happened to me. I guess I need to start going on Craigslist again. I don't even think I have a Craigslist account. I have an eBay account, but I barely ever use it. But pretty baffling thing there. With that, remember, if you want to submit news to us, bit.ly/DearTwig, DEARTWIG, or just use our Discord. I check through those things, and we also ask over in our Ask Question Get Answers every week what news you're hearing so that we can get those news stories to us as well. So be sure to let us know over there. With that, we're going to move into everybody's favorite segment of the show. At this point in history. That's right. It is the time where we reveal every video game, movie, TV show, and random bit of knowledge that we know about this day in history. So what came out on July 27th throughout time and space? We're going to be starting with the games that came out on this date. Back in 2021, Neo, The World Ends With You was released, and also The Great Ace Attorney Chronicles, which I have still not played, but still desperately want to. 2018, WarioWare Gold was released. 2007, Pokemon Diamond and Pearl were released in the UK, and the original The World Ends With You was released. So I didn't know that that game and its sequel were both released on the same day. I love whenever video game companies do that. 1996, Super Donkey Kong Game Boy was released in Japan. 1990, Batman was released for the Genesis in Japan. Actually, on the same day, Dr. Mario was released on the Nintendo Entertainment System in Japan. And then for our final game in history, on July 27th of 1989, the original Mother Earthbound was released in Japan. Pretty cool, pretty fun fact there. With that, we're going to move into some movies that released on this day throughout time and space. Two movies that are pretty different that released on the same day. Mission Impossible Fallout released in 2018 on July 27th. The same day in which Teen Titans Go to the movies happened to release. So that's a fun little mashup there, a little Barbenheimer situation, I suppose. 2007, The Simpsons movie was released with Spider-Pig and all the goodness. 2000 and, wasn't it Spider-Pig? I feel like it was Spider-Pig. Okay, 2001. 2001 on June 27th. Planet of the Apes, the original, well, not the original Planet of the Apes, the first reboot of Planet of the Apes was released back in 2001. On television news throughout time and space, back in 1940, July 27th, 1940, nearly 100 years ago, we're only 17 years, Bugs Bunny made his official debut in the Warner Brothers animated cartoon, A Wild Hare. Isn't that a fun fact? I love Bugs, and I didn't know that that was that long ago. It feels very long ago and also not that long ago for Bugs Bunny to have been around, but I digress. A random bit of news about July 27th of 2003. This is whenever the BBC announced officially with evidence and investigative reporters that there is no Nessie. The Loch Ness, the loch is empty. They discovered through 600 separate sonar beams and satellite navigation technologies. They trawled through the loch and discovered that, sure enough, there is no Loch Ness monster. That was back in 2003. 20 years ago, they debunked Nessie, but true believers know that she was just hiding. So, did any of that information interest you? Did you like this point in history? Because we all know this is everybody's favorite segment of the show. At this point in nerd history. Okay. With that, we're going to move into our penultimate segment of the show, which is upcoming releases. These are things that are hitting the market in the next week, starting today and going into next Wednesday. What movies, what TV, what games are being released into the ether. I'll let you know which ones are coming out. Coming out today in the movie world is Zoe 102. So any Zoe 101 fans, my wife is one of those. Zoe 102 is dropping today. Very interesting movie with Nick Cage appears to be releasing tomorrow called Sympathy for the Devil, as well as the latest A24 horror thriller, Talk to Me, and The Haunted Mansion. Those are all coming out tomorrow. The Haunted Mansion reboot. I said it. Yes, Mayfly. Zoe 102. It is not Zoe 101. Zoe 102 is officially back with a movie releasing, telling more of the story. I don't know what it's about, but I assume it's somehow tangentially related to the classic, I believe Nickelodeon. Was it Disney or Nickelodeon? I don't remember. But the classic series, Zoe 101. I did not watch it, but my wife is very excited for it. So we'll find out more about that in the future. It was Nickelodeon. Okay, perfect. I thought so. My gut said Nickelodeon, but I never know the difference and who owned what. So those are your movies hitting tomorrow, today and tomorrow. Today on television, you already heard season 4 of Harley Quinn, but we don't really deal with like multiple seasons. We only deal with the first season, and officially launching today, I think all at once. I don't think it's going to be periodic or episodic. Today, Twisted Metal is officially live. So if you want to go watch Twisted Metal, I cannot believe that this series actually happened. And number 2, IGN gave it an 8. So despite the truly abysmal trailer that they showed us at whatever we were watching not too long ago, I think it was Summer Game Awards or whatever, Summer Game Fest, despite the abysmal trailer, somehow it is apparently all right. So go figure. I like Anthony Mackie. I'll give it a try. We'll see how it goes, and I'll let you know if it's worth watching, or let us know over in our Discord under the TV channel if that is one that is actually worth our time. Next up, we're going to move into games. These are all the games coming out of the next week. Warning, it is a lot. It's always a lot because I look at all the games, including the indie ones. So coming out right now today, they may be out as I speak. Delivery Inc., which is a new delivery simulator game. Double Dragon Gaiden, Rise of the Dragons, the latest in the Double Dragon series, which is a series of beat-em-ups. Koa and the 5 Pirates of Mara, which is the Isle of Mara, which is a farming sim, but now it's an action-adventure story in that same universe. Let's School, which is a school simulator that has a super cool art style that I'm very curious about. Lunacy St. Rhodes is a horror game. Master of Nights 7 Trials is a new strategy RPG. Pixel Junk Scrappers Deluxe, it's a party brawler. I don't know much about that one. Puzzles for Clef is obviously a puzzle platformer. Rightfully, Berry Arms. Rightfully, Berry, B-E-A-R-Y, Arms is a new bullet hell. And then also releasing today, to the delight of many of our community, The Expanse, a Telltale series, drops today. 28th, Astro Battlers Tower Defense. Disney Illusion Island is a new platformer Metroidvania that I'm actually pretty curious about. Hello Kitty Island Adventure is a new action-adventure game. Super Sean 008, Zellar's Revenge, an action-adventure game. Coming out on the 31st, we have Arya's Melody, another action-adventure game. F1 Manager 2023. Obviously an F1 managing game. And Venba supposedly comes out on the 31st. I feel like that game has come out 10 times now. Number one. On the 1st of August, the number one day of August, Boyhood's End is an adventure game. On Guard officially releases. It's an action game that's been in alpha for a while. Rebellion Corporation is a new strategy game. On the 2nd of August, Ninja or Die, Shadow of the Sun is a new roguelike. And Thronefall is a new strategy game. Those are all the games coming your way. Let me know if any of them sound interesting or if you plan on playing any of them. I'm hoping to hear a whole lot about The Expanse. I really want to know from our Expanse people if it's possible to play the game without watching the series. That would be the thing that I really want to know, because I'm interested in the game. I love Telltale games, but I don't know if I want to watch the show or not. I know that a lot of our community really love that show, so maybe, but I'm honestly so behind on shows anyway that I would rather just know if the game is worth my time if I haven't experienced the universe. And then I'm also super curious about Disney Illusion Island, as I mentioned. I like Metroidvanias, and it actually looks like a pretty decent one. I'm also super curious about Let's School. It's just a super weird looking school simulator that I really don't know much about, but we're gonna find out more about it. Maybe I'll put it on my wish list and we'll see if I ever end up playing it or if it just winds up falling by the wayside. Let me know if any of those games sound interesting to you. I think Mayfly is looking up all the information about Zoe 102 right now. So that is where we will take all that information over in the chat. If you think anything is interesting or worth knowing more about, let us know. With that, we're going to move into the final segment of the show, which is, of course, Meme of the Week. Meme of the Week is our last segment we pull from our Memes and Goofs channel over in the Discord, !Discord in the chat as always if you want to join that. And we find out what is the Discord, or what is the meme that got the most reactions in the past week. And this week's winner was on behalf of Barbenheimer, and it was submitted by The One Red Panda. The One Red Panda brought us this delightful meme. Who's the absolute madman who booked a singular front row ticket to Oppenheimer in IMAX 70mm Universal City Walk on the opening preview night? Bro on the front row is looking all the way up at this truly unprecedented film in IMAX, shaking the room, shaking the stomach. Baffling. A baffling choice. I never go for that ticket. I actually normally go for an end cap row. Might be an interesting question. Let us know down in the comment section. Where do you sit in the movie theater if you still go to the theaters? Let us know what that might be for you. That's our meme of the week, and that has actually been our show. I hope that you enjoyed this week's Twig. Be sure to let us know that you did enjoy it by clicking that like button if you're watching on YouTube, or even better, share with a friend. Share this show. Let other people know that this show exists, and we would love to be reaching more ears with the positive and encouraging content of geekly news that we're providing here at Checkpoint Church. With that, we're going to end this one, as we always do, with our 3 things that we believe to be true about every single one of you out there. Number 1, believe that God loves you like really, really loves you. Number 2, we love you like really, really love you. Number 3, we believe that you, yes, you matter. You are a person of sacred worth. The world is a better place. Why? Because you are in it. Folks, with that, until the next time that I see ya, bye-bye!